A fortune teller once said I was a koi fish, a symbol of good luck, and that I was the daughter of the richest man. Sure, I might be lucky, but honestly my parents aren't exactly living the high life. Despite this, we decided to do a DNA test. And turns out, I'm not biologically related to my mom and dad. My folks, who are more like adoptive parents now, immediately decided to visit the hospital where I was born and talk to the doctor who delivered me. After a lot of running around, we confirmed that I had indeed been switched at birth. Hearing this news was like finding out the U.S. won the World Cup. It was mind-blowing. We gathered as a family to figure out what to do next. My adoptive parents were pretty clear. If I wanted to find my birth parents, they wouldn't stand in my way. Honestly, I didn't want to leave my adoptive parents, but I was definitely curious to meet the biological ones. So after some thought, I took the hospital's paperwork and went to meet them. Turns out, my real parents, true to being super wealthy, lived in a well-known rich neighborhood in the city. When I found them, I politely explained the situation and showed them the hospital documents. They gave me the side eye and said, "Young lady, it's illegal to forge a hospital seal. You sure are bold, trying to cozy up to the rich and famous." I knew they wouldn't believe me easily, so I calmly suggested we do a DNA test right then and there. I assured them that if the test showed no relation, I'd face any consequences. After exchanging glances, they agreed, and we headed for the test. The day the results came out, their kids, Becky, who was switched with me, and my supposed brother Tom were there. The test confirmed I was indeed their biological child. Becky instantly started crying, and my parents rushed to console her. Tom stepped forward, glaring at me with pure hostility, saying, "Even if there's a switch, we only have one sister here. So you can just leave." Tom's disdain was palpable, looking down on me from the staircase like he owned the place. I was about to speak when Becky cut me off with tears. "I've always been their daughter. You can't just show up and replace me with a piece of paper." Whoa, when did I ever say I wanted to replace her? "Carrie, you can have anything you want, but please don't take my family away," she pleaded, clinging to our mom. I started to explain. "Carrie," my dad interrupted, "if you're after money, just name your price. But you coming back into this family? That's never happening. Becky's our only daughter." "I'm not here for money," I said, trying to defend myself, feeling helpless. My mom scoffed, "Yeah, right. You're just here to be the new heiress, aren't you?" Holding Becky close, she stared coldly at me. "You're so cruel, Carrie. We're perfectly fine as a family. Why come back to mess it all up?" Stunned, I couldn't believe those words were coming out of my biological mom's mouth. "Let me tell you, Carrie, we will never abandon Becky. Don't even dream about it." My parents and brother gathered protectively around Becky, glaring at me as if I were the enemy invading their home. Standing silently in front of them, I could feel their animosity seep into me. After what felt like an eternity, I chuckled softly, catching them off guard. They grew even more defensive, but I stepped back, giving a polite bow. "First, I'm grateful you brought me into this world. I wouldn't be here without you. Second, I didn't come here to claim a rich girl's spot. I was just genuinely curious about what my birth parents were like." I offered them a small smile, my eyes growing distant. "Thanks for showing me your true colors without even listening to me. I won't ever seek you out again. Hope you don't regret it." With that, I thought about the debt of giving birth, made a bow, and turned to leave without hesitation. Once out of their neighborhood, I stopped, glancing back at their mansion, a smirk creeping across my face. "Just wait," I thought. "Your fortune's not as safe as you think it is." When I got home, my adoptive dad was fiddling with a piece of jade, and my adoptive mom was cooking, the warm aroma making the modest house feel alive. In contrast to that mansion, our place was full of love. "Carrie, you're back," my adoptive dad smiled, putting down his magnifying glass. "How was it?" My adoptive mom poked her head out from the kitchen. Looking at them, I suddenly knelt in front of them, giving 3 earnest bows. "From now on, I'm your real daughter, and no one can change that. Initially, I just wanted to meet the people who gave me life. Now, I didn't even have a reason to find them. I could happily stay with the parents who raised me." I briefly explained what happened, leaving my folks angry. Let's go give them a piece of our mind, they suggested. I stopped them. They have their family, and we have ours. Let's just leave it at that. Their disdain had been carved into their bones. I didn't want my adoptive parents to face their arrogant scorn. So what now? My mom asked, holding a spatula, her face full of concern. I winked at her with a grin. Unless you both kick me out, I'm never leaving you. Silly child, my mom said, tearing up. My dad nodded, his eyes wet. We'll always cherish you. We don't need their love. That's right. Our daughter deserves to be pampered too, they reassured me, worried I'd be upset. In truth, I was fine. I never held any grand illusions about that family, so their rejection didn't sting too much. Carrie, check this out, my dad said excitedly, bringing out a box like it was treasure and pushing it toward me. Go on, open it. I opened the box at his urging and saw a jade certification inside. I was pretty confused. A fortune teller once said I'm like a lucky koi fish. And also the daughter of the richest man in town. Well, the lucky part seemed right. But honestly, my parents don't seem anything like the wealthy elite. So we decided to get a paternity test just to be sure. And the results? Yep. Turns out I'm not biologically related to my parents. Well, my adoptive parents acted fast. They went to the hospital where I was born. After talking to the doctor who handled my delivery, we eventually confirmed that I was indeed switched at birth. This news hit me as hard as if the Chinese men's soccer team suddenly won the World Cup. So we all sat down together to seriously discuss how to handle this. My adoptive parents said, those people are, after all, my biological parents. If I wanted to go back, they wouldn't stop me. But I really didn't want to leave my adoptive parents. Still, I did want to meet my biological parents. After thinking it over, I took the hospital paperwork and prepared to meet them. My biological parents, true to wealth, lived in a famous affluent area in town. I found them and politely explained the situation, handing them the hospital proof. They glanced at it, then suspiciously looked at me. Young lady, forging a hospital stamp is illegal. You're really brave for trying to get into a rich family. I had expected they'd be skeptical. So I suggested calmly, I didn't deceive you. This is genuine hospital evidence. If you really don't trust me, we can go for a paternity test right now. If I'm proven not to be related, I'll accept all consequences. My parents exchanged a look and finally agreed to the test. On the day of the results, their 2 children also showed up. The daughter suspected to be switched with me, Becky, and my supposed brother Tom. The scientific results confirmed that I was indeed their biological child. Becky, upon hearing this, started crying. My parents immediately comforted her. Tom stepped forward, blocking her from me, with a face full of hostility. Even if you were switched, so what? There's only one daughter in our family. You should leave. Tom's eyes were filled with disdain, looking down at me from the steps. I opened my mouth to speak, but Becky cried out, I've always been their daughter. I've been with them all these years. How can you try to replace me with a piece of paper? Wait, I never said I wanted to replace her. Carrie, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. Just don't take my family away. She cowered in my mom's embrace, her crying pitiful yet annoying. I didn't. Carrie, my dad suddenly cut me off. If you're here for money, name your price. We'll give it to you. But accepting you back? Not a chance. We only have one daughter, Becky. I'm not here for money, I said helplessly. My mom scoffed. Of course you're not. You're here to become the heiress. She held Becky close, coldly glancing at me. Carrie, you are vicious. A switch is a switch. We live peacefully as a family. Why come back to disgust us? I stared at them blankly, struggling to believe these words came from my mom. I'm telling you, Carrie, we will never abandon Becky. Don't dream of being part of us. My parents and brother stood protectively around Becky, glaring at me like an invading enemy. I stood silently facing them, feeling their hostility. After a long pause, I suddenly chuckled softly. Their posture became even more defensive. But I took a step back and bowed politely to them. Thank you for giving me life. After all, without you, there would be no me. I'm not here to be your heiress. I just wanted to meet my biological parents to see what they're like. I gave them a slight smile, the light in my eyes growing cold. Thank you for so clearly showing your disgust. I won't acknowledge you again. Hope you don't regret it. I finished and bowed in gratitude, then turned and left without a glance back. When I walked out of the neighborhood, I finally stopped, gazing back at the Becky family's villa direction. I smiled mockingly and thought, soon enough, their richest title will change hands. Back home, my adoptive dad was fiddling with jade stones. My adoptive mom was in the kitchen cooking. The smell of home-cooked meals filled the modest house. Yet it had more warmth than the luxurious Becky mansion. Carry your back. Dad put down his magnifier, beaming at me. How'd it go? Mom poked her head from the kitchen. I looked at them, then knelt suddenly, bowing 3 times firmly. From now on, I am your real daughter. No one can change that. All I wanted was to see those who brought me into this world. Now, not even that motivation remained. I could just stay content with the ones who raised me. I briefly explained. What happened made my parents angry. We should sue them. But I stopped them. As long as each family is at peace, it's fine. Their disdain towards me is rooted deep. I won't let the ones who raised me endure their condescension. So from now on, Mom held a spatula, filled with worry and care. I smiled, winking at her. Unless you and Dad don't want me, I'll stick with you forever. Silly child, Mom choked. Dad nodded with teary eyes. You have us to love you. No need for theirs. Exactly. Our daughter will be just as cherished. They don't want you, but we do. They scrambled to console me, worried I'd feel bad. But honestly, I was okay. I didn't expect anything from them anyway. Their rejection only seemed absurd in the end. Carrie, look at this. Dad eagerly showed me a box, pushed it towards me excitedly. Open it. In Dad's urging, I did. Inside was a jade appraisal certificate, and I was puzzled. My dad's into rocks, so he had my mom and me settle in the mining area. He's got a pretty good eye for them. So while we're not filthy rich, we live comfortably. The mining area's environment ain't great, and I love tagging along with my dad to mess around with stones. So basically, I'm dusty and rustic most of the time. Guess that's why they call me a country girl. But my dad's got tons of appraisal certificates. What's so special about this one? Hey, remember that big rock you asked me to buy recently? Guess what's inside it? Dad must have seen my confusion and started dropping hints. Oh yeah, I remember now. That rock was huge and cost him $200. We bought it randomly on the way back from a DNA test for me, Mom, and Dad. I'd been busy lately and forgot if it's jadeite or ice. I guessed a few times and Dad nodded, then shook his head, leaving me puzzled. Mom laughed and scolded him. You enjoy messing with Carrie, just tell her. Dad gave in, finally revealing with all smiles, it's an ice jadeite with a spring inside. Carrie, your dad's lucky charm. If you hadn't pointed at that rock and said it was good, I wouldn't have bought it. It's got so much inside. By the end, Dad was grinning like a kid, so happy he was. Honey, make a few more dishes tonight. I'm having a drink, Mom teased him, but headed to the kitchen anyway. I was just stunned like, am I really a lucky charm or what? Dad brought this out to tell you, even our family will have money someday. He looked at me seriously, with a bit of sadness and apology. Dad wanted you to have a more fortunate life, but they bullied you. Whatever other girls have, my girl will too and better. I choked up, eyes welling with tears. I never felt my parents lacked anything. Instead, I felt incredibly blessed because they genuinely loved me. The rich family next door might have everything, but they're missing family love. My own family has been taking care of me, not related by blood, but the bond runs deep. Plus, I've always believed our family will surpass the Lius. Definitely. I got into the college of my dreams. Over the summer, I milked my lucky streak, hanging out with my dad at the mines. Touched every rock I could find. Hard work paid off. None of the stones Dad and I opened came up short. Made bank over the summer and got lots of attention. Told Dad to say he opened them. He panicked, saying he couldn't take credit, or they'd figure it out when I head to college. I thought about it and dodged the truth for him. Worst case scenario, just blame me. My lucky streak won't be stopped by haters. I'm planning to major in gemology and design in college. Once I've got that degree, my luck won't seem so out of place. When my folks dropped me at school, their eyes were all red from crying. They looked so lost without me. I hugged them tight, then teased Dad, when I'm on break, let's dig rocks together again. He got choked up, nodded, and turned away to wipe his eyes. Mom, teary-eyed, reminded me, tell us if you need money, okay? Got enough, Mom. The mine's far south and I'm heading north, way too far from them. Mom practically tried to stuff all the cash at home on me. She didn't speak, but hugged me tight, hesitant to let go. We'll watch you go in, they said. I knew they worried, so I forced a smile and waved. Dragging my suitcase, I entered the campus. Halfway, I turned back, they were still there. I waved. They waved back, both teary, which only spurred my tears. Didn't want them seeing it would worry them. So I picked up the pace, only re-emerging after turning a corner, waiting to see them leave before moving on. It's too far from home. No jade, no ice jadeite, no spring-like warmth, no family who loves me. But leaving's for a better reunion. When I finish my degree, I'll make sure my parents live their dreams. Didn't expect to run into Becky at the dorm. She'd already claimed the best bunk, all pink and dreamy. Her family was helping her, and when they saw me, surprise turned into disdain. Well, talk about a small world. Did it have to be Becky? You just can't get away, can you? Becky's mom sneered. We told you only Becky matters. What's your deal, hoping for money? How about $30,000? Becky's dad chimed in, giving me a once-over with a disdainful frown. Dad, she looks like she'll need $38,000. Tom sneered, veiling insults. Becky snickered behind her hand. I could tell Tom was mocking me. Seeing Becky's loving family just made me feel cold. Do I know you? I shot back, annoyed. With a shove, I nudged Becky aside. Get out of my way. Good dogs don't block paths. Becky's tears started. Mom, Dad, she whimpered, and they comforted her while glaring at me. Carrie, apologize now. Her dad barked. I let out a laugh. Who do you think you are? His face froze. I scoffed. We're nothing to each other. You don't get to boss me around. Becky's family bristled. Her mom looked about ready to eat me alive. We gave you life. How dare you? She spat venomously. Not so. Look at that girl clinging to you. She's the one you gave life. Stop trying to claim a connection with me. I retorted, glancing at Becky, snuggled up all pitiful, acting like a victim. Don't go calling me family. They're saying I'm trying to take advantage of them again. My mom's got this fierce look in her eyes, like she's ready to tear me apart. Once John caught on, he blew up in anger. He was like, this is outrageous, and spun around a couple of times, then stared at me intently, acting all tough like he could disown me, and I still had to obey him. Apologize to Becky or else, he threatened. What, you're gonna hit me? I backed up 2 steps, wary. Just then, Tom rolled up his sleeves and charged toward me, all ready for a fight. The smack echoed through the small space, as if someone popped a fish bubble. Becky's family was stunned. I shook my hand, smirking at Tom, who now had a red handprint on his face. Yeah, I've been hauling rocks for years. You think I'm just some weak girl who'd cry if someone hit me? You better measure up if you're gonna try. Tom was furious, poised to hit me again, so I kicked him in the stomach and sent him flying back into his dad's arms. Try it again, and I'll call the cops, I warned, waving my phone. Only then did they back off reluctantly, but their resentful glares followed me like shadows. As I packed, their hostile eyes might have pierced me with holes if looks could kill. Mom, I'm scared, whimpered Becky, hiding in her mom's arms, looking like a pitiful tear-stained flower. Her mom comforted her gently while her dad and Tom chipped in. I just sneered, suddenly relieved I hadn't let my parents see this mess when they dropped me off. Otherwise, they'd have been disgusted by the lot of them. Once my bed was made, Becky's family had decided to rent a place near the school to keep Becky safe from me, as if I'd harm her. I couldn't help but laugh. My family's investments are doubling thanks to our hard work. Who needs their stuff? Surprisingly, Becky stayed when her folks moved out. Why should I care? I'm here for my future, not to squabble with her. But Becky seemed to think differently. She lived right across from me, and whenever I pulled back the curtain, there she was staring. She dropped the sweet act she put on for her family and kept taunting me. But her insults were always the same, calling me uncouth, asking how I dared to show up at a prestigious school dressed like this. What does she even know? Intelligence isn't about fashion. Sure, she always looks flashy, but she's the one teachers always pull up for errors during class. The autumn sports event was coming up, and the teacher was all enthusiastic about it, encouraging everyone to sign up and represent our class's spirit. As I settled into school life, I felt eager to join. I'm good at running, jumping, throwing, pretty much everything. I've been the star of sports competitions since I was a kid. But before I could volunteer, that busybody Becky nominated me, pretending to be all innocent. She was raised moving rocks, she said, so she has to be strong. Her posse burst out laughing, their scorn obvious. The teacher frowned. Many classmates were frowning too, clearly not following Becky's lead. High school students seemed more perceptive here. I calmly spoke up, yes, teacher, I want to join the event. But I can't stand Becky's snide remarks. The teacher looked surprised. I stood tall. There's an old saying about not judging a hero by their origins. Whether I moved rocks or picked trash, I'm here because I've got talent. But Becky, who often fails her tests, makes me question if luxury doesn't make simpletons instead. I demanded an apology for her mockery. Though Becky was spoiled by her biological parents, materially rich since childhood, I wasn't lacking love. My parents cherished me, and I'm steadfast in my love for them. Given our equal emotional support, what makes Becky superior? No, her mind is actually petty and shallow. I just want fairness and to stick up for myself. My straightforward truthfulness was met with applause from my teacher and peers. Yes, Carrie, the teacher praised. What you said is exactly right. Gesturing for me to sit, the teacher then gave Becky a stern glare. I assumed everyone here understood the concept of learning and growth, the teacher said. But clearly, someone might only appear book smart. High diplomas don't equal high character or wisdom. They just show you've gained knowledge. Your actions and words reveal more about who you truly are. So Becky, you owe Carrie an apology, the teacher demanded sternly. Eyes turned to Becky, whose proud face turned red with embarrassment. She stared at me bitterly, but couldn't defy the teacher's authority. Reluctantly, she said, sorry, Carrie. I smiled, saying, no problem, I forgive you. I threw her a dismissive glance and moved on. She means nothing to me. Signing up for my favorite sports, I also joined the basketball club. The teacher noted there weren't many girls signing up, so I joined right in, ready to help where I could. The sports event was still a while away, so I started training. The club was friendly, and I quickly got along with the team. Our women's basketball team often played friendly matches with the men's team. Thanks to my sportsmanship, I soon became a key player. By pulling off a perfect three-pointer, I turned the game around. The girls screamed in excitement and hugged me. I joined in the fun, throwing an arm around each, then challenged our male rivals with a playful gesture. The stands were full, and we were all caught up in the laughter and excitement. I didn't even notice those dazzling eyes. But soon trouble came along. There were a ton of people sending flowers, gifts, and love letters. It was driving me nuts. Becky was looking at me weirdly, as if I stole her spotlight, always walking around with a gloomy attitude. I couldn't be bothered with her. But after I turned down David, the upperclassman's offer, and was heading back to the dorm, there was Becky, calling me from the shadows under a tree. Carrie, come here, I've got something to tell you. If you've got something to say, why not come over here yourself? It was dark out, and her standing there in the shadows didn't seem like a good sign. Becky's eyes shone with anger in the dark. I just rolled my eyes and walked away. Back at the dorm, my other two roommates were still at the library. I planned to shower and head to the library myself. But then Becky stormed in furious. Carrie, you sure act like you're all that. If you're not right in the head, see a doctor. I really couldn't stand Becky, always haunting me like a ghost. Even more annoying than all those gift senders. I worked hard in high school to get into this great college. Now that I'm here, I want to enjoy college life, not deal with her drama. I picked up my clothes to go shower, and she started screaming like a lunatic. And you think you're so special? You don't even deserve David's attention. So what if you play basketball? Always sweaty like that, you barely seem like a girl. Don't think being a real rich girl means you're better than me. No matter what, I'm still the richest girl around. If Becky dares to mess with David, I'm gonna make sure she regrets it. I looked at Becky like she was an idiot. Who's David again? I honestly don't even know. Seeing the rage in her eyes, like she could practically chew me up. I thought she needed help. So I chuckled and said, Becky, life must have been good to you, giving you a great head start. But just because you're the wealthiest girl now doesn't mean you'll always be. You should take care of yourself. I mean, being the richest girl doesn't really mean much, especially when it's fake. I have no clue where she gets the nerve to challenge me. Becky seemed to think I was challenging her status, and with red eyes, she slapped herself hard. The strength surprised me, yet she hysterically laughed. Carrie, you hit me. I'm gonna tell the teacher. Seriously, a frame up like this? I was ready to roll my eyes out. You hit yourself, and my marks don't match yours. Aren't you a bit dumb, Becky? If she didn't believe me, I couldn't be bothered to explain. Let her report it if she wanted. I was already growing bored of talking to dumb people. I feared it'd rub off on me. I grabbed my stuff, went into the bathroom, and came out to grab some shower gel. I saw her examining her face with her hands. When she saw me, her face turned angry again. I just gave her an eye roll. You really have to watch out for people like her. After the shower, I went to the library, spent hours enriching my mind peacefully, got back after midnight. Becky was sprawled out playing games online, not even mentioning the teacher thing anymore. Meanwhile, I exchanged glances with my roommates, all of us wondering how she even got into this prestigious school. While I was training hard, my parents visited. Dad had a new flashy car and took me shopping for my birthday. He said my birthday should be joyful. I was indeed happy. Dad, did you get some new jade? Of course, the good stuff. We're making great deals. He winked at me, saying, Carrie, buy whatever you want. Of course. I returned his secretive smile. Just 'cause I'm at college doesn't mean my dad's luck isn't watching over him. A fortune teller said you're like a lucky charm. My mom laughed. You're the family's hero. Don't worry about spending. You guys are the true heroes. Even though they were supposed to shop for me, I ended up picking good stuff for them. I wouldn't be here without them. In the end, I didn't get much for myself, but plenty for them. Mom worried, why didn't you get more? There are plenty of clothes at school. Plus, I'm not really into all this impractical stuff. They get in the way of helping Dad with his deals. Carrie's perfect as she is. My dad defended me, but he still slid a bank card into my hand. There's plenty in there. Get yourself something nice. It's time to enjoy looking pretty. Don't skimp on yourself. I know Mom and Dad. They'd come all the way to ensure I was okay. As I celebrated my birthday, after 2 days, they reluctantly left me at the school gate. As I headed back into the dorm with souvenirs they'd helped me buy, I wanted to give gifts to my roommates. But just as I put the stuff down, Becky burst in, mad as hell, with the dorm supervisor in tow. Carrie, Becky says her bracelet is missing, and she's accusing you of stealing it. The supervisor was direct and cold. My 2 roommates were shocked. They immediately vouched for me. Carrie hasn't been here in days. How could she steal Becky's bracelet? So you 2 are the thieves? The supervisor was harsh, angering my well-mannered roommates. I stood in front of them, speaking coldly. Becky, when did your bracelet go missing? How come I didn't know? You don't know if you stole it? The dorm supervisor is an old lady, and she's dead set on claiming I stole Becky's bracelet. It makes it hard not to suspect she and Becky are in cahoots. By the door, there's already a crowd of classmates who don't know what's really going on. Becky goes full drama queen, wailing, Carrie, I know we have our differences, but did you really need to steal? That bracelet was a special gift from my dad. It's a valuable jade bracelet. Please, can you just give it back? It was my birthday gift. With just a few words, she paints me as a villainous thief. My roommates are outraged. Becky, there's no way Carrie stole your stuff. Yeah, we trust Carrie isn't like that. The girls at the door back me up. I'm kind of a big deal around campus, so folks I've crossed paths with lend me their support. Maybe you misplaced it. How can you blame Carrie? The bracelet went missing 3 days ago. Who else could it be? Becky starts to look embarrassed when no one sides with her. I demand to search Carrie's things. Go ahead, search. The old lady agrees immediately without hesitation. Becky's little followers are rubbing their hands and smirking, ready to pounce. But I stand cold-faced, blocking the wardrobe. Anyone from the law school here? If they can't find it, can I call the police? You can. A voice from outside offers legal aid, and I glance at Becky, who looks too certain. Could she have hidden the bracelet in my stuff on purpose? A bunch of her minions shove me aside and start rummaging through my closet. It doesn't even take half a minute before someone pulls out a jade bracelet from my neatly folded clothes and shouts maliciously, "Carrie's a thief." The bracelet was in her closet. There's an uproar inside and outside the room, and my two roommates turn pale, desperately trying to defend me. It can't be Carrie. It's definitely not her. Then it was you two who stole it. Becky sneers, "You think you know someone? You're framing Carrie." My roommates argue on my behalf, but they can't fight against the evidence. They give me helpless, sorrowful looks. They know I'm innocent, but there's nothing they can do to clear my name. Call the police. Send her to jail. The old lady stands coldly by Becky's side, ready to back her up all the way. I just nod lightly, "Sure, call them. How else can I get rid of this anger?" The students whispering outside are stunned, looking at me in surprise. You don't find many dumb people at a top school like this, and the looks they give me and Becky are full of suspicion. Still acting bold, huh? Becky fumes, "Fine, I'll call the police, and my parents too. I can't be bothered with her. She thinks her parents coming will help her. Idiot." The cops show up soon, and Becky's family arrives with the receipt for the bracelet. As soon as they get here, my so-called parents point at me angrily, "Officer, she must have stolen my daughter's bracelet out of greed. Arrest her now." Even my brother looks at me with disdain. A country bumpkin stealing things. Disgusting. The look of contempt on their faces makes it seem like I'm some kind of pest. Watching them, I laugh. They didn't even ask for my side of the story. They just want to drag me down. I'd never acknowledge them as my family, alive or dead. "Carrie, stay calm." The officer seems concerned by my creeping grin, frowning slightly. I wave it off, "Don't worry, I'm calm. There's no way I'd be dumb enough to steal a fake bracelet." "You're talking crap." Tom snaps rudely, "My dad got it from a top store. What would you know?" "I wouldn't know." So I show the bracelet on my wrist. "This one's also high-end jade. Can you tell the difference?" Tom looks clueless, unable to tell. However, I can see it. Becky's so-called high-end jade bracelet is just a knockoff, most likely stored in an actual box at home. Under the light, my bracelet is clear and beautiful, with a faint glow. While Becky's bracelet might look nice, its fluorescence is dim, and you can visibly spot the cotton-like crystals inside. It doesn't even compare. Becky's family turns green, but her mother stubbornly spits. "What does a country girl know about jade? That could easily be a fake trying to trick my daughter. Don't worry, honey, we'll protect you." She curses while pulling Becky close. Tom and David stand protectively beside her, listening to her mom's insults, calling me a wild girl. I feel a chill running through me. "Officer, I request a jade evaluation." A professional comes quickly, doesn't even need equipment, just a glance to confirm. Carrie's bracelet is high-end, incomparable value. Becky's bracelet is a knockoff, science-made. How can that be? They shout in disbelief, faces turning white. Becky screams at me with red eyes, "Carrie, you must have swapped my real bracelet with a fake one in the closet." Quick to react, but she's just being ridiculous. Even now, trying to smear me with lies as if I'd let her. I toss the purchase receipt in Becky's face. "It's from the store. Feel free to take it up with them if you think it's fake. And as for your so-called bracelet, if I stole it, it'd have my fingerprints on it." Watching Becky's face drain of color, I coldly tell the officer, I request a fingerprint analysis to see if I actually stole her bracelet or if she planted it in my closet to frame me. Becky nearly stumbled and fell. I snorted, "What's got you so scared? Come on, show me that same energy you had when you accused me of stealing your bracelet, or I won't respect you anymore." She glared at me viciously, but her face was pale, and she couldn't say a word. At this point, it didn't matter whether we did a fingerprint analysis or not. The results were clear. A police officer pulled out the silver bracelet, and Becky was so terrified she rushed into her family's arms, crying, "Mom, please save me. I don't want to go to jail." Carrie's mom glared at me with a dark expression, saying, "Becky was just joking with you." The students watching around the doorway found it hilarious. While the Becky family is pretty shameless, accusing someone, calling the cops, and now that the truth's out, claiming it was just a joke. So thick-skinned. A disgrace to our school for sure. We're definitely reporting this. Becky's behavior is nasty and deserves serious consequences. Among the onlookers were people who were in charge, and they all felt angered by their shamelessness. But Becky's mom rudely snapped at them, telling them it was none of their business, and to stop meddling like nosy dogs. What a witch! The group of girls around their 20s, their faces turned red with anger, but they were too polite to hurl insults back. Instead, they resolved to report this up. There was no reason someone could be bullied like this. When they fell silent, Becky's mom aggressively said to me, "Tell the police, we'll settle this privately." "Who are you?" I asked, looking at her with cold eyes. "You're shouting at me like I know you?" Hilarious. My roommates were giving me thumbs up like crazy, trying so hard not to laugh, their faces going red. People outside were giggling. Yeah, who even knows her? "Carrie, if you won't listen, don't blame me for punishing you," my dad threatened with a stern face. But I found it laughable listening to him. "Are you my father or what? Your daughter does wrong, and you want to punish me? Your family values are concerning." I didn't back down a step. If I didn't know about Jade, or were a bit more timid, today I would have been labeled a thief for sure. How come now that Becky's being exposed, it's suddenly a forgivable joke? That's just naive. I told the police clearly that I wouldn't tolerate such deceitful behavior. Punish her according to the law. Their glares could have killed me, but I ignored them and reported that dorm head lady. Turned out, she took Becky's money and helped frame me. So she got kicked out of school. Becky got a major demerit and a luxury single-room vacation for 7 days. Her family was crying as she got taken away. I stood coldly by the police car, watching them without a shred of sympathy. You reap what you sow. As the police car left, my mom collapsed into Tom's arms, cursing me. "You ruined Becky. Why don't you just die? I wish you never came into our lives." Tom and David both glared at me. "If anything happens to Becky, your life is hers." I was going to tell them not to mess with Jade anymore. But honestly, if their whole family were gone, what's that to do with me? I turned and left, with my mom screaming behind me that I wouldn't be accepted by them, ever. How funny. I thought it was amusing, turning back with a cold glance at them. As if you even deserve me? I became quite popular at school. During the basketball friendship game, every time I scored, cheers erupted with people calling my name. It felt like I had a whole cheer squad. The water and flowers piled up beside the stands weren't halfway finished. Teammates joked about my popularity. I asked, feeling weird, "Don't you guys think it's a bit like a memorial? With snacks, fruits, and flowers, and my name on everything?" The girls cracked up while the guys, in frustration, said, "Carrie, please don't use the shot put. I'm pretty strong. What's that got to do with shot put? We're afraid you'll injure your brain, and that would be a loss to the world. What's that even mean?" I didn't get it, and watched while they gave each other knowing looks, passing some secret message. I returned to training for the upcoming sports meet. Gotta keep pushing. The fans followed me everywhere, but I was focused on training. The sports meet was 3 days away, when Becky came back to take exams. She looked really worn out, like a flower with no nutrients, no longer vibrant. Still, she'd often glare at me with resentment, and I'd just ignore her. Let her do whatever she wants. Test results came quick. I was first in our department. The fans went wild, celebrating like crazy. Especially when I won at the sports meet. They were over the moon, happier than if they'd won. I was puzzled, asking my roommates, did they win or did I? "I'm not even this happy. You girl must be made of steel rods reincarnated," my roommates said helplessly. I was speechless. They're the ones too excited. After the sports meet, we held a class commendation assembly. I almost got buried under the girls' awards piled on me. The teacher teased, "Y'all should learn from Carrie, who's out of your league academically and in sports too. She's absolutely the queen of our class." We're in awe, classmates laughed, looking at me mostly with admiration and envy, except for Becky's crew, who eyed me darkly, leaving me to wonder what they were up to. I just ignored them. Through my effort, I was surrounded by flowers and applause. Didn't expect Becky would still give me trouble. She cornered me when my roommates were out, demanding an apology. "In your dreams," I said coldly, trying to pass by. But then she suddenly grabbed my hand, slapping herself hard twice on the face, breaking her lip. I couldn't believe she'd go this far. Blood trickled down her lip as she laughed maniacally. Let's see you deny this now. Are you crazy? I pulled my hand back forcefully and wiped it off with a wet wipe a few times with disgust. She leaned on the table giggling. Yeah, I'm crazy. You drove me insane, Carrie. Didn't you say last time there's a difference when you slap yourself and when someone else does it? Let's see if that's true. She wobbled towards the door laughing. This time you dared to glance and slap me. I'm gonna make sure you get punished. So stupid, what can I do? I called out to Becky, pointing right at the surveillance camera set up in our dorm room corner. You've been back for a few days now. Are you blind? Knowing she likes causing trouble in the shadows, there's no way I wasn't prepared. So my roommates and I had set up that camera. Turned out to be useful. When my roommates brought food back and saw Becky's face bearing the marks, I shrugged. She slapped herself. My roommates looked confused, while Becky gave me a seething glare before storming out. After she left, I shared the whole story with my roommates, making them burst into laughter. It's my first time witnessing someone as dumb as Becky. If her eyes don't work, she should just donate them. Before we even finished eating, my dad called, saying he got something good for me to check out. I was so excited I didn't even finish my meal before running out. This time, Dad was by a new car with wings on the logo, eagerly looking around as I approached. Come here. Green as old jade. Can you guess what it is? Watching him rubbing his hands in excitement, I was amazed too. Could it be imperial green? Exactly. And it's top-notch, a mesmerizing shade of green. Dad gestured with his hands, showing the size of the stone. Carrie, we're gonna be rich. Seeing him open his arms like that, big enough for a hug, it's not just about being rich. I embraced him. Dad, where's Mom? We need to celebrate together. We decided to buy a house here and settle down while she's packing back home, Dad said, patting my back. You're studying here alone, and your mom's always worried. So we talked it over and decided to move. Sounds good, but do we have enough money? Of course we do. Your dad here. I'm like a master in the stone business now. He grinned and reassured me about the money. We're not short on cash anymore. And then I'll set up a company for you. My girl can boss around right after graduation. No need for internships. I was thrilled at the idea and hopped into the car excitedly to check out that green. Dad wasn't lying. It was a highly valuable stone, but its appearance was bumpy and moss-covered, not giving much away at first sight. Dad bought it for $500 only. Yet once cut open, the insides were priceless. In the jade world, they say yellow jade, green jade, and purple are the most precious, but purple stands for nobility. What's truly valuable is the imperial green. Looking at that stone, I could only think how my lucky streak was unbeatable. The richest title seemed to be slipping. After having the stone sorted with Dad, I headed back to campus. No matter how rich, I couldn't neglect my studies. Except, wherever I went before, there'd be fans who'd blush and follow me around shyly. Today it was super quiet. Every now and then, I came across familiar faces who gave me weird looks before hurriedly pretending they didn't know me. I glanced down, unsure what was off. Passing the basketball court, where team members were playing, the stands were crowded too. But spotting me, the fans' faces dramatically changed. They all seemed reluctant and distant. I pointed randomly at a girl. Tell me what's going on. Some say you have a sugar daddy, she muttered nervously yet firmly. But we don't believe it. You vanish for days with no word. Now rumors are spreading, online too. And there are photos of you hugging that old guy. If I remember correctly, the only old guy I hugged was my dad, who couldn't keep their hands to themselves and posted it online like that. I clicked on the top post on the school site, clear as day. Our campus bell is being kept. Is this a twisted humanity or moral collapse? Clicking and showed several side photos of my dad and me hugging. You might want to clear things up, the girl suggested. I heard it's caught the school's attention, and they are gonna deal with it seriously. I nodded and asked, any idea who posted it? Becky, it's Becky who started the rumor, she insisted confidently. I chuckled. These people really don't learn till they see the consequences, huh? Since she's playing dangerous games, I'll let her face it. Straight to the admin office I went. Known for my good grades and athletic skills, teachers mostly recognized me, yet their eyes were filled with pity this time. My counselor quickly stopped me. Carrie, how could you make such a mistake? I made no mistake. It's a baseless slander. I knew he wanted to coax me into admitting fault to potentially lessen the consequences. But why should I when I've done nothing wrong? The head of the office was there too. I directly addressed him. Sir, I want to confront the rumor monger Becky face to face. Her again? Surprised, he quickly made a call. Becky showed up fast with her parents. As always, they defended her without asking anything first. There's no questioning here. My daughter got photos of Carrie and an old guy hugging. That's proof enough. Still, the supervisor gave me the floor. Carrie wants a confrontation with Becky. The day this happened it should have been investigated, but Carrie was on a leave. Now she's back to resolve this issue herself. Let's get things cleared. Nah, photos tell all. Becky sulked and glared, her words laced with resentment. Carrie disappeared to hang and have fun with the old man, right? Can't get anything sensible out of your mouth, can we? I retorted coldly. I meant to ask you directly after. Was it you who snapped the pics? Did you spread the rumor? Was it you? Becky was probably feeling she had won, and she nodded without hesitation. Just as I was about to call my dad, they spoke first, their faces dark. Carrie, you're a disgrace to our family. From now on, we have nothing to do with you. For someone so shameless, selling their body, we have decided to sever ties with you, they said, as if to make sure I understood. I didn't miss the smug look in Becky's eyes. Too bad for them. I had no intention of reconciling with those people anyway. They were barking up the wrong tree, blaming me now. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Tom's family calmly. All right, write up a formal disownment letter. If they don't want me, I don't want them either. Without any hesitation, I borrowed some paper and a pen from a teacher. I wrote a detailed disownment letter, and even put my fingerprint on it. Then I looked at them. Dare you to sign it too? I put my fingerprint on it right away. We made 2 copies. I took a photo for my records, and then I put the letter away safely. If they don't want me, what do I have to be afraid of? The teachers in the office were all stunned, looking at me with eyes full of pity and sympathy. But I didn't need it. I have parents who love me. I don't care about family that doesn't. After putting the papers away, I called my dad. Dad, someone suspects you and I of having an improper relationship. Can you bring our household registration to my school? Your dad is actually here too? Becky looked incredulous. Then her eye developed a malicious glint, like she just thought of something. Could it be a sugar daddy? Just shut up. With you around, I feel like the school air stinks. I didn't want to talk to her. I walked over to the principal. Sure enough, Becky acted honest. My dad and mom both came, laying their IDs, household registration, and my birth certificate on the table angrily. Who is slandering my pure as ice daughter? The principal cleverly pointed to Becky. It's her. My parents' eyes immediately fixated on Becky, who shrank into her father's arms, looking defensive. What do you want? Relax, no hitting him. I'd never seen my mom this mad. She seemed to smile, but there was fury in her eyes. If you dare to mess with Carrie again, we'll give you a proper education. If you don't train your kid right, we will. My dad, dealing with rocks all year, looked rough and wild. Becky's family took a few steps back, startled. Her father frowned. We raised Carrie from a child. My dad looked at him disdainfully. The other man furrowed his brows, unsure of what he was assessing, and Becky murmured, Carrie was just a country bumpkin, right? How is her family this rich? You're thinking too much. We aren't rich. With my parents dressing simply, and me not having anything valuable on me, we indeed didn't look like a wealthy family. Becky glanced around, actually believing it, still a poor girl. I rolled my eyes at her, then turned to the principal. Becky spread rumors and heavily defamed me this time. How should we handle it? The principal sighed, shaking his head. Write her up, apologize, and discipline her. How about that? I won't apologize. Becky started crying. I remained cold. If she won't accept, I'll still report it to the police. They glared at me maliciously, but my parents immediately shielded me. Bullying a child, is that your only skill? Have the guts to fight with us. They didn't, so eventually, Becky apologized to me in front of the entire school. The principal warned sternly, saying if it happened again she'd be expelled. Becky cried, not daring to lift her head. When I was walking my parents to the gate, Becky and her family came up, acting unusually warm. So you're Carrie's adoptive parents. Thanks for all your years of hard work. We'll give you some money. Just let Carrie come back with us. The way they said it, you'd think my adoptive parents had been keeping me captive. We don't need your money. My parents declined instantly, and without hesitation. They looked sadly at me. Carrie, we were wrong before. Come home with us, okay? If you're sick in the head, go see a doctor, I retorted coldly. Do you think I'm dumb enough to fall for your false kindness? And sure enough, as soon as I said it, the fake sadness disappeared from their faces, replaced by anger. You think we really wanted you back? We just want you to be there for Becky to release her frustration. Pray you don't end up crossing us, or you'll get what's coming to you. Their insults were spiteful, like I was their enemy. My mother held me protectively, and my dad punched the other family right in the face. You're just beasts. With a scream they scurried away, heads held low. My dad spat. I robbed your wealth. Let's see how you act high and mighty now. My parents immediately agreed. Anyone who messes with Carrie gets it back. By the time I learned how my dad fought back, the incidents were long past. By then, he had become successful through investments. He was frequently featured in finance news, hailed for his insight, and had built up assets all over the country as a new generation billionaire. When he became the richest man, he bought me a building in the city as a celebration gift. Running a company is tiring, just be a landlord. I chuckled. I actually like helping you with stones. Those simpler, warmer days mean more to me. My dad was so touched, he bought 2 more buildings for me. Meanwhile, Becky's family could do nothing right. Every investment flopped, every business failed, and their reputation for bad luck spread. With their poor management, they spiraled downward, faced financial troubles, and began being investigated. They nearly went bankrupt overnight. Then I accidentally captured Becky bullying a classmate, forcing the girl to kneel and taking pictures. Zero tolerance for that. The photos quickly landed on the principal's desk, and Becky was expelled that day. Her angry phone call started. Carrie, was it you who took those pictures and reported me? Those guilty of bullying aren't forgiven, I said calmly. You shouldn't be at such a prestigious school. If my dad's rich, I'll attend. I wasn't intimidated. She was pretty darn smug, but then quickly got mad again. You got me kicked out of school here, she yelled. I'm not done with you. I just couldn't deal with her. It was the first time I realized just how scary it is when someone has twisted views. Every single thing started with him provoking me first. I'd only fight back later. But in his eyes, her bullying was forgivable, and me fighting back was out of line. It's absurd. You might want to check if your dad's got any money left for you to burn. Once the richest man isn't doing so well now, everyone's kicking him when he's down. The dorm felt brighter, even on rainy days, without Becky around. Even the air smelled sweet. My dad called me home, saying we were going to throw a big party now that he's the richest, and he wanted to publicly introduce me. I told him there was no need, but he insisted. Said I've suffered due to my identity before, and now it's time to take it back. Honestly, I already forgot about the past. But since my old man still cares, I took some time off so I wouldn't fall behind on my studies and headed straight to the party. I didn't expect the old saying the road is narrow for sworn enemies to hit so hard. The moment I walked into the banquet hall, I ran into Becky, clinging to a young man's arm. They looked close. Wow, a country bumpkin actually showed up, Becky sneered as I looked her over. Do you even know what kind of event this is? Wearing a school uniform here? Seriously? This uniform is something you can't even dream of wearing, I said proudly, holding my head up high. I glanced at the man next to Becky. Your taste is terrible. I suggest you get your eyes checked. The man looked over with a half smile, his eyes more beautiful than the finest emeralds I'd ever seen. I thought for a moment and genuinely suggested, your eyes are really nice. But if you're not using them, maybe donate them instead of wasting them. The man's smile disappeared, and Becky looked like she'd swallowed a bug. Carrie, did you really? You've gone crazy, she said. I'm just being honest, I shrugged. I saw my dad on stage, waving me over, so I quickly ran to stand beside him. Becky stood stunned, and her male friend gave me a meaningful look, to which I returned a silent glare. What's up? Never seen a lady before? This is my daughter, Carrie, My only precious daughter. My dad's voice boomed through the room. I snapped back to reality and put on a sad face to play along. I don't really like these kinds of events, but my dad needed me there. He's a man of few words, so after a brief intro, he led me off the stage. I was planning to sneak back to school after dealing with my studying, but then a group barged into the event. As soon as they saw me, they started crying. "Daughter, we finally found you." "Sis, we searched so hard for you," Tom cried too. Were they trying to force a connection? The guests made way, letting them reach me without any trouble. Meanwhile, the man who'd been with Becky was suddenly by my side, his voice low and teasing. "Miss Carey, need some help?" "Step aside and let me work," I said, not even glancing at him, but keeping my eyes locked on the people crying and stumbling toward me. My dad frowned. "Carey, do you want to handle this or should I?" "I got it," I replied, noticing someone staring at me. Turning, I saw those beautiful eyes staring at me with a smirk. Carey finally noticed me. He chuckled quietly, not too fast, not too slow. It wasn't endearing but not annoying either. I looked at him, flashing a toothy smile. "Uncle, you got business here?" I could hear my dad barely holding back laughter. The uncle's face darkened. I turned my attention back to the commotion, uninterested. "Unless you've got a good reason, don't come near me. It'll slow down my ability to act." "Carey, mother finally found you," my supposed mom cried, tripping and falling at my feet, bursting into tears on the ground. My dad and Tom held her on either side, eyes brimming with teary hope. "Carey, honey, so it was you who got snatched away," they said, with the father looking my dad in the eyes. "Sir, we gave Carey life, and you raised her. It's fate. Please help us save our failing business." Their sobs were filled with agony, but me aside, their only focus was linking to my dad, hoping he'd save their sinking business. My dad turned to me. I raised an eyebrow, casually watching them. "I acknowledge you're my biological parents," I admitted, "but we are your real parents." They pulled out the pity hat, quick to judge. "You can't be disgusted with us just because we've fallen on hard times, while your adoptive family flourishes. Y'all were the ones who ditched us for riches," I replied coolly, stepping onto the stage to pull up the document they signed, cutting ties with me on the big screen. "Pay close attention. What relationship do we have?" I gestured to the document. The date was clear. It was from when they were on top of the world. "You abandoned me," I said, addressing them but uncaring of the various emotions surrounding us. "I, Carey, never ate your food or wore your clothes. You even know me?" I used to approach them with open arms, only to be met with scorn and judgment. They rushed to cut ties with me. Now they dared to say they missed me? Please. They were chased away. My foster parents clung to me, crying, "How could they treat you like this? And you never told us." When they were in power, I couldn't let them bully you too, I chuckled, wrapping my arms around them. "Stop crying, it's a happy day. You silly kid." My adoptive parents laughed through their tears, wiping them away with smiles. "But she's our best daughter." "Yeah, well, you guys are the best parents." I smiled and wiped the tears off their faces. "Now, I've got to head back to school and study. Can you two promise me you won't cry anymore?" They urged me. "We're not kids, you know." "Heh, okay, that puts my mind at ease." I hugged them both and was about to leave when I heard a soft chuckle nearby. "Boss, I'll give her a ride." It was that man again. I thought my dad would say no, but he looked surprised and happy. "Wouldn't that be too much trouble, David?" "No trouble at all." The man shook his head and reached out his hand. His eyes, prettier than emeralds, smiled at me. "Miss Carey, nice to meet you. I'm David." My biological parents' company totally went under, but my dad's business really took off. Pretty soon he was the richest guy around, and then he donated a building to my school. He's seriously loaded. I held the donation certificate, feeling extremely moved. My dad's impressive. He's really generous with his money, but there's one thing that bugs me. At some point, this guy named David started popping up. If I glare at him, he just grins back. Then, with those gorgeous eyes that I can't even get mad at, he gives me this innocent look. In my 4 years of college, aside from the first 2 years, when I had admirers around me, after that, all I saw was David, that so-called heartthrob's face, constantly in my view. Funny enough, he's actually my schoolmate, just 5 years ahead of me. Seeing my roommate swoon over his looks makes me frown. Is he really that handsome? Of course, he's like a god among seniors. Then she asked if I didn't think so. I shook my head, being an honest person. Two eyes, one nose, what's the difference? My roommate's shocked expression is unforgettable. But was I wrong? Then at graduation, I couldn't help but ask David. I heard David's jewelry business is huge. Aren't you worried you'll go bankrupt? Spending all this time hanging around me? Not at all. Because I've found a priceless gem. David leaned in closer, and in his beautiful eyes, I saw a tiny reflection of myself, looking like a starry night sky. He laughed softly. Carrie, you've spent years studying jade. Now, how about studying me instead? The end.